This video is brought to you by ARE Study Warrior, studiously preparing architects for their difficult set of 6 ARE NCARB architectural registration exams for licensure. This specific video focuses on a question and answer in metals and architecture. The material is basically for the PPD and PDD architecture exams. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button below. All right, let's get into it. Question and answer. Now, just before we start here, I just want to make sure that you're aware this video will be sped up to save time, but I will try to allow for 1 or 2 seconds in between question and answer before giving the answer so that you have time to fill it out. Which is thicker, a 16 gauge steel or a 22 gauge steel? A 16 gauge steel is thicker. What is the galvanic relationship between stainless steel and aluminum? They do not get along. They're far from each other on the galvanic action chart. What's the best way to protect exposed steel from corrosion? To specify galvanized or stainless steel. Steel is isotropic. What does this mean? That it has the same strength in all directions. Steel doors are commonly referred to as HM doors. HM stands for what? Hollow metal. Common thicknesses are 14, 16, and 18 gauge doors. Immersing steel in a bath of molten metal to prevent corrosion is called what? Hot dipping. Carbon content of steel affects its blank and blank. It affects its strength and ductility. Depositing a metallic coating on steel by electrolysis is called what? Electroplating. When is a coped beam connection used? When 2 steel beams must connect and be flush at the top. What is the main purpose of deformations in steel floor decking? They help lock the concrete slab and decking together to achieve composite action. What's the main difference between a W-shape and S-shape steel? They're similar overall, but the S-shape steel has tapered flanges, and W-shape has parallel flanges, not tapered. All right, continuing question and answer. This metal does not get along well with wet concrete or mortar, so it must be protected from contact with these materials. Aluminum. Aluminum doors are used in place of steel door frames when a higher fire rating is required. Aluminum door frames are easy to fabricate, more lightweight, and cheaper than steel door frames, so they're used when a higher fire rating is not required. With open web steel joists, what are the 3 most common series types called? You should probably know these. The K series, 8 feet to 60 feet. The LH series for longer spans of 25 to 96 feet. And then the DLH series, deep long spans, 61 feet to 240 feet. For short spans and small openings in thick brick walls, the most commonly used steel lintels are what type? Steel angles placed back to back. Besides being cost-effective and easily accessible in a variety of shapes, aluminum has one key positive feature. Resistant to oxidation. It's self-protecting. This helps give it durability on the facade. The process of squeezing heated but not molten metal through a shaped die to produce a long metal piece. What is this called? Extrusion. This is corrosion that occurs when dissimilar metals come in contact with each other over time in the presence of moisture or another electrolyte. Galvanic action, which we talked about earlier. Are brass and bronze naturally resistant to corrosion? Any of you guys know? Yes, they both are. This is the non-ferrous metal used most often in construction, aluminum. You are using a W12 by 30 beam in a building. The 30 means what? The weight, 30 pounds per foot, linear pounds per foot. This metal has the highest thermal and electrical conductivity of any metal used in construction, which is copper. Stainless steel is inexpensive and is not super durable. True or false? That's false. Stainless steel is expensive and it is durable. What is the most important use of zinc in construction? For galvanizing, the application of zinc coating to steel. It helps prevent rusting. Metals that do not contain iron are called what? Non-ferrous metals. Brass and bronze are both alloys of the same metal. Which metal is it? Copper. You are using a W16 by 65 beam in a building. The 16 means what? It's the nominal 16-inch depth of the beam. Nominal because it's not exact. It will be off from 16 slightly. This property of steel allows it to withstand high tensile stresses and deformations without failure. Ductility. What is the most common type of steel used for structural use? ASTM A992. It has a yield point of 50 KSI, And the 992 is just the specification number. So you see a L3 by 3 by 3/8 on a wall detail. What steel shape is this, and what does the 3/8 dimension tell you? It's a steel angle L with equal legs because you have the 3 by 3, and then that 3/8 inch is just the thickness of the legs. Because open web joists are skinny and subject to buckling, they must be laterally supported at the top and bottom core. Is this true or false? This is true. You see HSS 6 by 6 by 12 by 1/2 on a detail. What steel shape is this, and what does the 1/2 stand for? HSS is hollow structural tubing. It has a square shape since it's a 6 by 6, and the 1/2 inch is the wall thickness. This is the most brittle ferrous metal, which is cast iron. Where are thermal breaks most important? And in light gauge steel framing or in wood framing? Light gauge steel framing. Metal has the higher thermal conductivity than wood. Folds in sheet metal are made on large machines called what? Brakes. Light gauge steel construction can be classified as either type blank or type blank construction type. Type 1 or type 2. This metal is a major ingredient in stainless steel, often 15 to 18% component. It does not corrode in air, and it's often used in paints and glazes as well. Chromium. All framing members shall be spaced at 24 inches on center. This would likely be the standard for wood studs or for light gauge studs. This would be the standard for light gauge stud spacing. Wood studs would most likely be around 16 inches on center. All right, thanks for using Study Warrior, and we'll see you next time.